What's going on, Lucky Gamers? Is Lucky Lux. I apologize, I've not been making videos and streaming as much lately. It's just basically, I picked up another job. I'm a media. I'm on a media team for my church with 2 apps. So I do a lot of filming. I do a lot of video editing for them, and I get paid for it. This money goes towards my family. And I'm a husband and a father, so I have to take care of my family first. And sometimes I'm just too tired to stream. But I still keep up with the game. I'm still trying to make videos. It's just that, hey man, I just gotta provide. I'm not quitting the game or anything like that. It's just I'm just busy, bro. That's it. It's just I'm busy. But I don't want to make this video too long because I know most of y'all don't like long videos. But today we're gonna be talking about who you want to summon between 2.0 and 2.2. Right, so we have a couple of characters coming out. One of them being Unlimited. A lot of y'all just got done summoning Unlimited. That being Lucy, right? And then Kakanya. Some of y'all pulled, some of y'all didn't, just depending on where you go. Now, the advice that I'm gonna be giving is for a lot of different types of players. I am a spender. I'm not free to play, so some of my stuff might not line up with you guys, which is why there's multiple content creators in this community. There's Steambun, there's Jaka, Double, everybody who might have a little bit more insight for a little bit more information for the free to play side. I give my best. I test all the characters at P0, and then I eventually portray them, or I don't, or they end up being portrayed through pools, right? I try to keep some characters on low rarities, just depending on how I feel about them. I mean, on low portraits. But do know that I do have portraits of my characters, so I have some insights on some of the portraits. For some characters, I don't, but I do have all the characters. Okay. I want to first start off with 2.0, obviously, because it's coming up quick. It's gonna be between Mercuria and Joe. I think they switched around the order. I haven't really looked at the banners because I'm not pulling. But with Mercuria and Joe, I kind of tell you straight up that Mercuria is a stronger pick than Jay, in the sense of if you're looking for meta and raids stuff and all of that, right? Mercuria, just with her damage dealt buffs that she gives, her crit damage buff, her incantation might, she gives a crazy amount of buffs. Sometimes I think she does a little too much because some of the stuff, like her damage, is terrible, even though some people think support should do damage. But she's really great if you get characters that can match up with her, and that's not just Marcus. I've used Anjo Nala with her. I've used Lucy with her. I've used J and Z characters who do follow up, have extra incantation, anything like that. Pair really well with her because they're able to get extra cosmic energy stacks. My favorite though still is Anjo Nala because it gives her that strong follow up, and it keeps the cosmic energy stacks from Mercuria really high. And then Mercuria is able to give damage dealt, incantation might, and crit damage to Anjo Nala, which are all stats that she really likes. And then she still has the crit rate buff that she gives, right? So Mercuria has a lot. And as a buffer on the team, even if you can't keep the cosmic energy stacks full, it's still something really good to have, even if you can't maximize it, right? I know it hurts having a character that you can't maximize, but the buffs that she gives, just all in all, if you could stay at least 16 stacks, maybe you can't get up to 25, but you can stay at 16 most of the time when you're attacking, then you're gonna be doing well with her. Because I do a lot of my bursts like every other turn or every few turns. So as long as I can have my stacks as high as they need to be for when I'm doing my most of for when I'm doing most of my damage, then I'm fine. I don't have teams where I'm doing big damage every single turn. I mean, unless I'm playing with Anjo Nala. But uh that's just how, it is. Even with Lucy, I'm planning my burst around like her ult because her ult just has um a lot of it, or when if I'm killing something, that's where a lot of the burst is, right? Like Lucy's a ramp up. But anyways, uh great character. The strongest pick out of 2.0, and probably most people's strong pick, other than the limited of all of the characters throughout 2.0 and 2.2. Is probably the most debated character out of all of them. especially because of the whole portrait debacle and all of that. But yeah, we'll talk about more about her in her guide that I make. But yeah, let's talk about Jay. First, I love Jay. He's the luckiest pull I've ever had. Pulling 3 J's in a 10 pull was amazing. But he has a lot of weaknesses in the sense that the enemies aren't attacking you, then Jay's not really doing damage. Um, so there's that, and you kind of do have to like figure out a team for him. Like, do you heal him or do you keep him low? Do you rely on his shields? It depends on the enemies that you're fighting and he's shielding you. But the main thing is that if you are killing your enemies too quickly, um, especially when they have ads, or you're in a single target fight or something like that, Jay's gonna have a lot of weaknesses. And so if we're talking raids, he's not the strongest character because you're really going for just clearing out all the ads, you're going for shutting the enemy down, stuff like that. But when you're talking Utu, roguelike, and Limbo, he's a really strong character because his counters hits everything, he shields everybody, so he has a lot of opportunity to do a crazy amount of damage at P0 with just a rank 1 incantation at that, or just depending on how large you're able to get his shields, right? He can do a lot per turn just with keeping up the shields. The shields last 2 turns. But it just depends on the content. And for a character like that, if you're looking for, like, if you're a meta only, or you're really just looking for something specific, Jay just isn't that. But he is fun if you care about content outside of raids. There's a large amount of the community that only cares about raids, while raids is some of the easiest content in the game. So, like, Jay isn't going to be for raid only. But if you like to have fun and stuff other than that, if roguelike is one of your favorite modes, you will love Jay in that mode. All right. That concludes 2.0. Again, Mercuria is the strongest pick out of that. Jay is for fun. So let's go on to Tuesday versus Argus. Now this one I will fight tooth and nail on because it's almost the same. Where Argus is like the meta pick and Tuesday's the pick for fun. But my argument is, okay, and I might spend a little bit more time on this. Tuesday is a poison and Genesis damage buffer. Tuesday allows characters like Kakanya, 37, any poison character, and any Genesis damage character in the future to be able to do more damage because she is the only one as of right now who can buff their damage. She has a debuff that increases Genesis damage taken. And so for those of you who have seen the heal team, you've seen me use Kakanya, and you've seen Kakanya do tons of Genesis damage, Tuesday is the only one who can really increase that damage and allow the heal team even to be stronger with using Kakanya, Tuesday, and 2 other healers, right? She increases that Genesis damage on the ult, everything. Oh, I also forgot Ezra. Increases Ezra's damage as well. Sorry, Ezra. When it comes to poison, she will pretty much always be on a poison team because she gives an array that allows the poisons not to be consumed after their duration until the end of her array, and she explodes it all. She allows poison to crit, like, so any poison character coming up in the future or any poison character before, if they do a lot of poison applications, they do that. Now, unfortunately, she does not go with Jessica because Jessica is not really all in all in poison damage. She just does damage with poison sacks being on the enemy. It is a difference. Tuesday and Sotheby do damage with poison. Jessica uses poison to amplify her own damage with incantation might. So you would rather put Jessica with a character that uses incantation might to help boost her or any types of debuffs if you're playing using BON or anything like that. Like, honestly, Jessica's better off with other characters than Tuesday, even though some people will be like, I don't care, I'll use them anyways. That's on you, right? But when we talk about Genesis damage is really special because there is nothing that can nerf Genesis damage. There is nothing that can counter Genesis damage, which is why it's so strong. It is true damage. When you're going in raids, regardless of the boss's damage resistance towards mental, reality, whatever, Genesis damage eats past that. Poison Team can beat the robot boss where it's mainly made for reality damage, and Tuesday's mental, the Kanye's mental, but their Genesis damage can take it out, right? When you're going against Hydra, done. The only bosses that this might struggle on is characters like the Marsh, right? The Marsh creation. But that's like one boss. Any of these other bosses that are happening, it's not gonna happen. The Assault Day one where it nurses the rest of the team, Genesis damage. Eats past that. I'm really passionate about Genesis damage because the game doesn't have a way really to stop it. It can just eat past all the damage resistance. And if we're talking about just triple Sing raids, this is where I believe Poison Team is the one team that can also beat the raids, get over a million score, get past the damage resistance, and the more you've invested into a Genesis or Poison Team, whatever you want to call it, the better it can do. Okay? So when we talk about meta, or we say that poison is just for fun, for one thing, Tuesday can apply poisons without having poison characters. She just wants characters that can help her keep up the debuffs. And then as long as you're attacking, you can apply it. Like Jay, every follow-up that he does applies poison. Lucy, whenever she's doing follow-up, they can apply poison as long as the enemy has debuffs. If you look at her insight, anybody who has multiple attacks can help apply poisons. So I'm gonna step off my soapbox. Tuesday is a lot stronger than you think. Is a crazy character for raids, roguelike, Utu, Limbo, and all of that. Okay. Now, Argus. Argus is also really good. Really, really, really good. Any single target situation, like Argus's debuff is crazy. Now I don't have anything against Argus design wise or anything like that. I just did not like her at first because I thought because she has DPS energy. The way she looks and everything, she looked like she was gonna be a DPS, but they're like, nah, we're gonna make her a sub DPS, right? And that's fine or whatever. But I really wanted her to be a DPS. Okay. She works really well with Mercuria. She works really well with Marcus. She'll work well with any of the incantation, uh like the incantation level of rank teams, right? She's able to do passive damage just per turn, just based off of you just casting cards, and the higher amount of stars that you put, the more damage she's able to do. She's able to put a debuff that is really crazy, but it's damage taken the damage taken reduction is a debuff, and then the crit defense debuff. She's able to stack that really high. Um and then her ult helps refresh it. She's able to give herself empower incantation. She's able to give herself moxie. She wants to crit, which her Psy Cube helps her crit. Her Insight 2 helps her crit. And she also gets a damage dealt buff based off of the rank of the card that she uses. Right now, this damage dealt buff does conflict with other regular damage dealt buffs, but it's still just there, right? Um, in any single target situation, Argus is going to be really, really good. Um, I can't take that away from her. She's a really good character. Um, but to me, she's mainly like a raid character. And so anything other than that, she doesn't really feel good in. Um, other than like just getting higher, like so characters like Winsong will really like her because like Winsong single target, she's single target. Some characters like Marcus, right? Lucy, not really. Uh, Anjo Nala, if you're making Anjo Nala more single target focused, you could use her with, right? But in just like regular content and stuff like that, I really wouldn't use Argus. So like if you're pulling characters for like roguelike, Utu, Limbo, any of those, Argus is like she's alright, but she's mainly a raid character. In terms of priority, I still would put her up there with Mercuria because like what she's able to do by lowering the damage taken, like debuff, which is a huge buff for raids because like once they start lowering your damage bases off of that damage taken buff, you can lower that by a high amount. So um in terms of like meta, Argus is gonna be based off of the community really high up there. Can you get away without her? Absolutely. You don't have to have Argus because she like even if you don't have the team made for her with the whole like level up, she can still do her debuffs, but without really getting those high um additional attack cards that she gets based off of the rank of your cards. She doesn't generate as much moxie, so you have to use a little bit more moxie. But you can get away without her. She's not necessary in any way. She's just nice to have. You can take that how you want it, but like Argus is nice to have. Okay, but in terms of free to play, the Mercuria, Marcus, Argus, Vila team is a really solid team. Does a lot of damage with P0, P1 characters because my Marcus is P1 and my Vila is P1. But they're able to do over 1,000,000 on the deer boss and stuff like that. The boss that was kind of made for that. But really solid team that you can make out of that. Mostly plant team. But that's that's about it. Like she works really well with that. Other than that, she's just a really good raid character, but I wouldn't say that she's the craziest to me. All right. But that's 2.1. I think the 2.1 is mostly going to be skipped by a lot of people. But that's fine. And then to conclude 2.2. 2.2 has Anjo Nala. Should you summon her? She's crazy. You want to talk about P1? She does more damage than Lucy. I don't care what any of y'all say. Um, Now, if you talk about going against a Flatus that like hurts, I still think Anjo Nala does better than Lucy. Um, I tested Anjo Nala out at P0 for a very long time, and then I tested out P0 to P5 with Anjo Nala, and mine was P0 to P5. Anjo Nala wipes the floor with Lucy. I don't know why they made this character so strong. Now, Lucy is easier. You don't have to worry about who you have a team with. You don't have to worry about a Flatus. You don't have to worry about Lucy is easier. When you kill something, it causes a chain reaction. Lucy's able to clean up. Okay. But let me take away from Lucy. Lucy's very, very strong. AoE situations, Lucy in a consistent fight, in a consistent AoE situation, Lucy will beat out Anjo Nala. But since we know that there's not a lot of stuff like that, except for like the new Utu, then Anjo Nala is going to be better. And I like Anjo Nala that she can switch from being an AoE focused character to a single target focused character. She likes to be with debuffs, which fits really well with me putting her with Tuesday or me putting her with anyone, right? So she fits with a lot more characters. Um, and she's just really nice to have. Lucy, still a great character, not to make y'all regret it. It's just that there's just Blue Pox is doing their usual thing where they're just making broken characters. So I'm just saying that Anjanala is really good. Now, if you feel like you put all into Lucy and you're like, so for instance, if you're somebody who pulled P3, P2, P4 Lucy, P5, and you're not going to do the same for Anjanala, well, then obviously your Lucy is going to do more damage. And that's where you kind of mess yourself up, where if you're like, well, I'm not pulling somebody who's not stronger than my Lucy. Well, if you put your whole soul into Lucy, but you won't do that for another character, then it's obviously going to be a little different, right? Anyways, Anjanala is a great pick, great character to summon. Hopefully, you guys have enough to pull her. If you're free to play, I would say she's your focus because she's limited. And then once you can guarantee her, go down from there if you want to pull Argus or Mercuria, right? This is why I'm making this video to let y'all know way in ahead of time, right? Go for Anjo Nala if you can. I mean, go for Anjo Nala, and if you can, pull Argus or Mercuria or Tuesday or Jay, right? If you're talking free to play, it's totally up to you guys. If you're the type who dropped everything into Lucy, it's probably gonna be a little harder to pull how you want Anjo Nala, even if you skip 3, because you can get really unlucky. But it's totally up to you. And then Lopera. I'll talk about Lopera real quick. She's amazing. A lot of people called her mid on the first day, first night, first couple of hours. She's a crazy character. It's just that I don't think people really realize what she can do. And that's fine. She trumps characters like Tooth Fairy. Care what you say. It's better than Tooth Fairy. She competes with Vila. She's able to give the whole team crit rate. She's also able to give the whole team crit damage. She's able to give people on the left side of her incantation might, people on the right side of her ult might. Uh, and then with her Psy Cube, she can give additional incantation might and ult might. Uh, just having the array up. And if you amplify it, it gives it to 12%. You're able to give 37% incantation might or 37% ult might. This is all at P0. If you go, and then she's also able to convert crit rate into crit damage. Based off of the amount of bullets that you have, it ups the conversion. Pretty much at the base, right? She can convert 50% of that crit rate that's over to crit damage. So let's say you're over 40% crit rate, right? She'll take that 40% and convert 20% of it if you don't have a lot of bullets, pretty much, because you'll always have one bullet with her. So that's why I say 50%. It's actually a little better, but I'm just gonna keep it easy. Um, but she'll work really well with any character that goes over it. She does a lot. And then she also is able to heal whenever she uses a bullet for 50% of missing health. So characters that have high missing health, she's able to heal per turn. Is she a self-sustaining healer? No. But if you're putting her with characters like Kakanya, her and Kakanya can help sustain your team pretty well. But she's a really good character. Now she's a Ray, and so some people are like, well, I already have a Ray character, so Simiwise gets you in. Um, I'm just saying she gets some really strong buffs. She can make a lot of people crit. So, um, her meta, her bullet meta hasn't really started at all. But I'm just saying, she's a crazy character. By the time y'all get to her, check in with me, see where Bullet is at, see what I feel as you get close to Lopera. But she's a crazy character. That's all I'm gonna say. Uh, Now CN, we're leading up quickly into 2.3. We're about to get a poison character, so we're about to see what Willow and Tuesday can do. I'm gonna be doing a lot of that content, so pretty much go from there. I wish all you guys the luck and everything. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys are wanting to summon. This video ended up being longer than I wanted it to be. But it's fine. I wanted to make sure I went over all of the characters and how I felt. Do remember the characters that I said is the highest priority is going to be Anjo Nala. Then from there, you decide if you want to pull Mercuria or Argus in terms of rating. And then Tuesday and Joe, I spoke about those characters depending on how you guys feel. So let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. Sub to the channel if you haven't subbed. Join the Discord if you join the Discord. Anyways, you lucky gamers, have a good one. Lucky Lex out.